Today, I'm starting a new project. It's June 7th, Friday, 2024. For a long time, I couldn't use this brand because it had wheat in it, and I had an allergy or intolerance or whatever you want to call to wheat. So I had to buy Tamari, which baffles me. Soy sauce with wheat is called soy sauce. Soy sauce without wheat is called tamari, or in Korean, which I can't pronounce in Korean, but they call it soup soy sauce. And my mom made soy sauce most of, growing up. She was making it all the time. And I have an old video where I make it, but I'm doing it again. I went ahead and bought this, and the prices is just crazy. And this is not organic. But it doesn't have, if you look on the bottles, it does have this preservative. But if you look at other brands like the Walmart soy sauce, they have some other things in there. And I just want it to be water, soybeans, and salt. So, and salt is the preservative here. I don't know why the other stuff is being added. So I bought those at Walmart, went to a restaurant supply place and got this, which was a good deal. So we're good for a while. But with the way I've been making beef jerky and lamb jerky, I've been going through the soy sauce like crazy. That's why I did that. And it's been a really good snack for me to have the brisket. I get a whole brisket from Costco, fat and everything, and I cut it and I marinate it, and I've been, like I said, I've been going through the soy sauce. So here I'll go ahead and cut my crock pot to high for just to get it up, and then I'll cut it down, and just enough water to cover this, and I will continue to add water this way, not having to get the water out later until the beans are mushy. It should take about 48 hours. I'll continue the video then. Top off, it had gone dry. The beans are soaking up the water as well as some evaporation. I've now cut it down to low. And this is what it looks like after 24 hours on low. And I added water 5 times. Just kind of kept an eye on it. I don't think I need to add any more water, but unless it evaporates, but I'm gonna let it cook for another 24 hours. After trying a couple of manual ways, I decided that this would be the best way to smash, as I just put a bit in at a time and get that worked up. It doesn't have to be perfect. So this has been going for over 48 hours. I took the lid off to let it evaporate as much as you can. There is a smell. Not unpleasant, but it's definite, when you cook beans. Next to grind. Okay, I made bricks, and these trays were my older ones and they were breaking, so I just went ahead and broke them out to give me a higher tray. I do have the jelly tray on the bottom of this because these are mushier and wetter than my mom. I have to remember how my mom did it to make these bricks, but this is the closest I'm going to get with this batch. And now, see how much they're going to stink up. They will, of course, anytime you do something, let me turn that back off. Anytime you do something this big, it's going to take a long time. It will harden. It should harden, I should say. It will harden and crack. The biggest thing is to keep flies fruit flies and regular flies out of it. The smell will attract. If it starts getting really stinky, I will put this outside, outside the house, but in something else that can stink. So should be interesting. Stay tuned. So after a couple of hours, it had hardened some, but it's still very soft. So I flipped it, and now it doesn't have the jelly roll thing on the bottom. And I removed one of the empty rings, so it's just got one. So some more waiting to do. Here we are the following morning. I've already turned this one over. There's still some give because they're still soft inside. These are a lot darker than my mother's would end up brown. So I'm still learning. And to turn this back on. So here we are, almost 24 hours in the dehydrator. And these are not cracking. Of course, my mom made her bricks a lot smoother, and then they would just crack. And still continue to dry. So I just went ahead and broke them in half. You can see where they're still soft on the inside. Learning process. A little short of 3 days since this went into the dehydrator. It doesn't have that funky smell that I grew up with my mom doing it. But I'm going to take a gallon of water. Not doing a huge batch. Most of y'all won't be doing a huge batch of soybeans and not having it stink. Oh, and this is a little under 6 cups of salt, about 5 3/4. The 1 gallon, now you notice the salt took up that much space in the water. I've decided to start another batch. I have another pound of organic soybeans. This I think is organic. I don't imagine myself buying non-organic, but I am going to start another video using a pressure cooker instead of a slow cooker crock pot. So trying to dissolve as much of this salt as possible. So this gives you an idea. You could do, excuse my camera foibles. So I have been stirring and stirring, and I cannot get this last bit of salt to dissolve. So I'm not going to worry about it. This is way more salt than I normally put in, and that may be where I was having issues, because it is very salty. So I do have a Hungary that I am not going to use. I love it. They're beautiful. I've got 3 different sizes. Want to get more, but I want to be able to see what's going on, and you can't do that. Even with the lid lifted up, and you have to use a flashlight to look in. But I want to be able to see the process. So my camera cut out on me. And now it does need air. The fermenting process needs air to go. Not wasting any of this. I will pick this up and slide it in and then cover with this cloth. It's not a cheesecloth. I don't like cheesecloth. Cheesecloths are too loosely woven. This is a cleaning cloth that I don't use for cleaning. I use it for food. So it's just a good bleaching after each use. Now that I've kind of scraped all the, not all, but most of it, you can still see that there's still a lot of salt here in the bottom that just isn't dissolving yet. That may be too much water for the soybeans that I processed. The biggest worry I have is about flies laying eggs. These lids on these containers are not water or airtight. They may be with this. I'm going to just put one layer. Okay, took two hands to get that unfolded. So now, here we are. See that the water level was that much after adding the salt, and now it's gone up just that little bit with the soybeans. So, and they're floating, which tells me that there's a lot more air in those than the beans are. So they are dried out very well, close to 72 hours in the dehydrator. And now to wait for the water to change colors. And a little over almost 6 weeks since I put this in water. It has come apart. There is still salt that did not dissolve, so that was way too much salt. But at least I'm not going to worry about this one getting moldy. And this is what Koreans call doenjang, or the closest thing is miso in Japanese. But doenjang is what Koreans use, homemade. It's a little funkier, it's coarser. You can see where I did not get all the beans smashed. I will strain this, but I think I can let it go a little bit longer. But basically, you bottle, at this point you can bottle it. You can, once this is strained, then you preserve that too and use that. My mom, or you'll see other recipes where they'll add hot pepper flakes and other garlic, all sorts of other stuff to get different flavorings, and then it's used whenever they're cooking. It's already ready for them to just toss it in. Doenjang jjigae, the soup made with this, vegetables, leftovers, whatever. Or doing ramen. My brain couldn't think of ramen noodles. Instead of just putting water, you can put some doenjang in there too, and have a little bit more flavor, and not even use those flavor packets, because those things are just a waste anyway. But there's different things to do. But you can see where it's already, I'd like to see it get a little bit darker, so I'm going to let it stew some more. But it's all that has come apart. But I think this, we'll see how this batch does in the long term. All that additional salt. So I could add more water to it to dilute the salt, but I'm not going to worry about it. Salt is a heavy mineral. As you can see, it falls to the bottom. And that's what I also talk about in my gardening videos, because I use salt. And people worry about, oh, it's going to ruin my soil. And this is why the oceans are salty, because it's a heavy mineral, and it will hit wherever, like we have clay within 2 feet of digging. You've got clay, if not even 2 feet. And once the water hits that, whatever minerals it's taking, it goes to the low point, usually to a creek that goes to a river, and the river goes to the ocean. So geology lesson. So the salt just goes to the bottom. And I think I'll end the video with this. Thank you for joining me. Be a blessing and be blessed.